Hi, I'm Jennifer Powell, host of Take a Look. And on today's episode, we have with us Sasha Santana and Kelly Carlucci, co-owners of Kelsas Sweet Box, located in downtown Lancaster. Welcome, Sasha. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you.
So we are here to talk about your confectionery, genius of your cheesecakes and your sweet treats. But before we go into that, tell us about the women behind Kelsas and your journey to opening a storefront and all that you're doing. Kelly, start off.
Okay, sure. So I guess it takes it back to about 2019, 2020. COVID for sure.
The pandemic again. I've heard that, yeah.
Absolutely. We had a lot of time to reflect and think. I know Sasha was working from home. I was still working, but limited hours. So we really got to thinking of starting our own business. We wanted something for our children, something for our future, beyond us.
Right.
And starting our own business was it. We wanted to work for ourselves. Yeah.
And was it always food? Sasha, was it always food, or did you guys have a little bit?
We did actually start off. So our original business idea started before 2019, but we definitely saw it change very quickly as we were looking around at different things that, worked well with us and then what was popular as well. It did change slightly, but that's where we ended up. We just knew that it wasn't happening anywhere at the time when we researched what we, the charcuterie specifically, but cheesecake was just something I always loved as a kid.
Yeah, we grew up with that.
So let's go back a little bit before I dive into the cheesecakes, because although we don't have any to show me biting into one on air, that means you're going to have to go down to their shop. But I know how delicious they are. But before we go there, so how did the whole concept come, and sort of what was that catalyst moment? You both quit your jobs, right?
Yeah. So so we did quit our jobs, but back in 2019 is where it all came kind of full circle. We worked, and we also part-time started to make those orders.
Wow.
And we just posted it for the very first time.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, actually, I remember her very specifically, was like, I need that.
Yes.
So, and that's really when it all started. And from there, it eventually
it took a while. We ended up leaving our jobs. It wasn't until a year ago.
Okay. So
we did try to get everything in order,
right.
A slow process. Is this it? Are we going to take the dive? And then we just said,
we're doing it.
Let's do it.
So you actually were juggling working full-time.
Right.
I know that they're full-time moms as well.
Correct.
Full-time wives, full-time jobs, and then just putting this in part-time, which probably was juggling
full-time.
Yet another full-time piece.
Exactly.
So, how did you guys make it all work? And then what was that sort of catalytic moment that said, you know what, we're going to do this full-time?
Yeah. It was more of a trial and error. I think for the first few years, we went through things. We tried different things out just to see if they would work or not.
I think for me it was a part burnout now, doing both. This was starting to take off more.
Right.
And I was running a restaurant. I was GM of that, so I still had to deal with many employees. It was just too much. Going from, I was like, what are we going to do? Keep doing it this? Or are we going to...
Let's do this.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I think it just, I think that's really was the push then, and the drive and the motivation was we have everything. What else can we do?
What can we do?
Until we learn what we didn't have before after, there's always learning aspects.
It's either now or never. Yeah. That was a really good, really good segment.
Well, the awareness of knowing, okay, I'm doing this with my family, I'm doing this professionally for work, and now this is really taking up a lot of time, and to have that awareness to be able to say, okay, we're going to stop that.
Yeah.
Which can be scary. Was it scary to sort of close that chapter to start this? But that's life. You've got to close, you got to end one chapter. So tell me about sort of how that was scary.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it was very scary.
It really was. I mean, because you obviously have bills, during all of that.
Support ourselves,
That's important too. So we were like, are we going to make money?
Yeah.
We don't know, because it's full time.
Right.
We're used to having that cushion, but we did, our baking and stuff on the side. So, I mean, it was, it was definitely terrifying. And then, a lot of it was really just faith and believing in ourselves. I feel like that is a big part of it. Because it was like, we've done this. We've done
Yeah.
it. We can keep going.
And we can do it.
Yeah.
And we can. And we did.
Right,
And
right.
yeah.
Sasha's good with that. She's a good motivator. Like, she's a good cheerleader. Like, when I'm like, okay, well, we got to do this. You know, I'm
Right.
like the money person and
Yeah.
like the, you know, I'm like, well, we need X amount.
Right.
We got this. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get this. And
Yeah.
we didn't just start here for no
Right,
reason. Like, we
right.
have all this history. Like, we got to keep moving.
Yeah.
Well, what a perfect combination,
Yeah.
you know, when
Yeah.
you have, you know, the person that's more of that structure, strategy,
Yeah.
or
Right.
dollars and cents,
Right.
and then you have the creative
like, I see
Yeah.
it.
and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
visionary.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
putting them together is a recipe. Oh gosh, no, I did not like practice this. A recipe for success. But yeah, so those what were some of the early challenges that you all, as women entrepreneurs, small business owners, what were some of the early challenges that you all experienced, and how did you kind of overcome those?
Yeah, I mean, really just funding. I think that was the whole kind of, I guess, halt, so to speak, for us to even really kick it off. But as we kind of saved a little bit of money, we also used, we used some of our 401k.
Yeah, you had to
things
dip
like
into some
that.
savings, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I just said, as you start your own business and as
thinking of
you
something.
make this transition, a leap
Yeah.
of faith, you said
Yeah.
faith, some of the challenges that you might have hit early on. And of course, as you start any new business,
Yeah.
funding and capital to purchase all of the things. Like, you don't think of everything that's required
Yeah.
to, like, hey, make me a
I would
cheesecake.
say, yeah. I mean, early on was definitely figuring out everything we needed to be legal.
Right.
Logistically and legal.
Just to even start our own business.
Wow.
That was a lot of hoops. One, it was the pandemic. There were a lot of people not working.
Right.
So you would call, the health department. You would call hey, where do I go? And they tell us to go over here.
Right, right.
And then you'd call them. Finally, you get a hold of somebody, and they say, no, you need to call them. Well, no, they told us to go to you, and it was just a constant. A lot of it was figuring out. Luckily, there's a lot of videos online
Yes,
to guide
navigating.
you. Because a lot of it within the city here, unfortunately, I'd have to say wasn't there.
Yeah.
It was a lot of hoops.
Just in the unknown.
Which, when you're starting your own business,
Yeah.
of course, it's going to be that way.
Yeah.
But
So joys.
Yeah.
What were some of those early joys? Because I want to get the challenges out, and then we're just
Yeah.
going to go all to positive. What were some of those like early joys, or early, like maybe the firsts?
Yeah, I think just the thought of us being able to do something we never saw as something we could do. I mean, at a young age, for us, where we come from, I think our backgrounds, it's work and
Yeah.
raising kids,
Right.
and
Work,
that's it.
raising
Yeah.
kids.
That's really the
Yeah.
outlook. I mean, even in school, that's just something. It was you're going to college or you're getting
Gonna get a job.
That's it.
Yeah.
There was no creativity really pushed. Now it is more so. I feel like
sure.
there's options. You have an online school if you don't want to be in high school.
Right.
There's just a lot of things. Internships more so. I think they push that and try to kind of build partnerships between different things. But yeah, I mean for us, yeah.
No, it's so true. I mean, if you think about even generationally, kind
Yeah,
of.
for sure.
I was talking earlier, sort of there was no internet when I was a kid,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Oh.
it's kind of, yeah, there was no internet. And so there really was, you get a job,
Yeah.
or you go to college, and depending on your family structure or your family dynamic, starting your own business is something that maybe you don't even think about.
Right.
And so the
sure.
courage that you both have to take that step, I just, where did that come from?
Just doing it.
Just-
I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted
We
different.
really wanted
Yeah.
it.
I feel like even now, it's hard to. I mean, there's definitely points throughout the year where we, felt like, oh my gosh, is this really it? And because you have to go through that. You have to really figure it out. But we knew we wanted it, so here we
Yeah.
are. We're still
Here you
here.
are.
Yeah.
So here you are.
It's just something we love to do. At least I know for me, and I won't speak for Kelly
Yeah, no,
100%,
for sure.
but I mean, it's just something that brings me joy.
Yeah.
Honestly, but I love doing it. I love serving people. It's
Yeah, that's what I was
always
going to say. I've always had a server's heart, so
Yeah.
I'm going to serve anywhere.
Yeah.
Whether I'm making money from it or
Through
not, I'm always going to serve.
Yeah, you're a server.
Even in my home.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in our homes, we're servers.
I'm like, here's your restaurant
Yes.
dinner.
Well,
Mom, what are you doing?
I don't know Kelly super well, but I know that Sasha is like this, amazing cook. And I actually feel very privileged to have been, in that early sort of, just literally following on social media and seeing this delicious looking, charcuterie board that I didn't even know how to say it. I was like, that's this sort of meat and cheese tray, and ordered it. This amazing demonstration of, nuts and honeys, and there was a little honey dipper in it.
It's a work of art.
And it truly was a work of art. So tell us how, those weren't, the charcuterie thing is now like a craze rather.
Yeah.
You guys were doing that before. So how did you guys come up with this idea? What motivated, again, food is almost natural, I think, but how did sort of this concept of this was the space, and this is what we wanted to do, and this is what we wanted to specialize with?
Cheesecake was something definitely that I just remember as a little girl, and it was something that just always came back to me. My mom made a cherry cheesecake, and it was like the best thing I've ever had.
Yeah.
And she made it special occasions, and I really was like, we need to make cheesecake so people can have it whenever they want.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't want cheesecake?
Right.
At, 7 p.m. at night on a Monday.
Or for breakfast.
Or for breakfast. We do that too.
Yeah.
And charcuterie, we do a lot of hosting together. Family gatherings, we've done it over the years, for years. It's pretty much been at my house, just because it was always bigger. But it's something the kids looked forward to, and that was it. We would make appetizers, meals.
Wow.
And here we are. We're like, this is what we love to do. We always do it every holiday, every single holiday. So.
Yeah.
Well, your tagline is like, and I want to make sure I don't want to mess it up, but delivering a sweet surprise for every occasion. It's the mini things.
Yes.
So let's talk about the cheesecakes. We got to talk about the cheesecakes. So, recipe. So is this your sort of an interpretation of your mother's cheesecake, or did you guys sort of start from the beginning and we're like, we're just going to be like creating this in the lab?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of that, but hers was more of a no-bake actually, which I love still.
Yeah.
There are good recipes for that, and we do make them. But we kind of wanted to do something different that we didn't see yet anywhere in the city or in Lancaster County. And just being able to offer something new and delicious that is like a favorite dessert.
Amazing.
In bite-sized form.
Bite-sized, yes.
It's the mini.
So it's the mini.
Yeah.
They're little delectable cheesecakes.
Like a cupcake.
Like a cupcake.
Yeah.
But you also do regular sized cheesecakes as well. So just to know that there are regular size.
Yeah.
So tell us some of the flavors that you guys have.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Okay, I just did top 15 actually.
Oh, 15. You have 15
the ones
different
that
flavors.
Well, no, that's just top.
well over
Just top
100.
15. Well over 100 recipes. Flavors.
And I'll explain that because I always do in the store. It's part of, the bottom of the cheesecake, the actual cheesecake, and the topping. So with all of those kind of together, we can definitely come up with over.
Yeah, we do different crust
It's like
bottoms,
a
from
three-part.
Oreo bottoms, brownie bottoms.
So
Sugar
taking that
cookie.
Oh wow. Yeah, because you can
Graham
change.
cracker.
You can change the crust, but keep the base,
Yes.
and then change the topping.
There's a bunch.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what are your top 15?
Cherry, brownie
Banana
bottom,
pudding.
brownie bottom, caramel.
Salted
Did I say it
caramel.
wrong?
Salted caramel.
Brownie bottom, chocolate chip, cookies and cream or Oreo, strawberry crunch.
Wow.
Cherry, of course, or lemon curd.
Lemon curd, yeah.
What's the top seller? Which one does the?
That's a hard one.
It really
It's the biggest
varies from
question.
whoever is walking in the door.
Okay.
Like 1 week, I feel like when we first opened, I was saying this to her, it was cherry. Everybody was playing it safe. You know what I mean? They were just like, okay, let me just try it. I'm going to go with what I know. Everybody knew cherry cheesecake. But then as they became regulars, if they were regular people, then they went to the crazier flavors. The banana pudding, I can't even think right now.
So,
Fruity
no,
Pebbles.
I was going to say the crazy
yeah.
one sounds to me, but we were talking a little bit about this before we started the show. Is Kelly, you really like the Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah. Fruity Pebbles and banana pudding.
And banana pudding,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
So good.
And then Sasha, what are your favorites?
Definitely lemon curd is probably,
Lemon
but that's
curd.
current. I tell people all the time, guests and customers that come in, I'm like,
Yeah, because in the beginning hers was triple chocolate. She was.
That's
it's
it.
ever changing.
Ever changing. Hey, a girl after my own,
which
heart.
is exactly
yeah.
why we do it, because I feel like people want what they want, and sometimes you just don't want just cherry, and you can have cherry, lemon, chocolate chips.
You can have them all.
That's what's nice.
You can have them all. And then you do the regular cheesecakes.
Yes.
Now, do you do the same sort of flavor combinations? And if I would come in and say, like, I want a guava peach with a Oreo crust. I mean, that sounds crazy, but like,
No,
so
no,
you
it
even
doesn't.
allow people to be super creative with what they can order.
Absolutely.
We don't like to say no.
Yeah. I know.
Nice.
Which is hard.
Which is probably
we're finding that balance still.
Yes,
but
yes.
I'm amazed at some people who come up with different flavors, and
right.
I feel like that's fun. One of the things that we're looking towards, for the future to really bring back is our cheesecake cakes.
Cheesecake cakes.
So that is like a layered cake, buttercream, or whatever the filling is. It could be like a fruit filling.
Oh, wow.
And then cheesecake, and then another cake.
Gotcha.
So those were really popular, but it was like kind of us keeping up with the business side of it, starting out again. But that's something we really want to, kind of produce again and have available in store, but also for pre-order.
Right.
Yeah.
So we dabbled a little bit and talked a little bit about the charcuterie.
Yes.
And I'd love to hear more about those because you all do mobiles, you do pop-ups, you do like charcuterie grazing, and so tell us about like just this craze and kind of what makes up a charcuterie board. Like, what's your basic, and then maybe what's like an extravagant one.
You wanna?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every single one is pretty extravagant.
Yeah.
We make sure, like, from a solo person to serving hundreds, that they all have the same complexity.
Consistency,
Yeah, there's going to be
yeah.
savory, there's going to be sweet in it, there's going to be a little bit of everything, and high quality of our meats and cheeses and such. But yes, we love to do the catering aspect with that. Like, when you make a beautiful bride and groom's day with this, extravagant board. I mean, some people, it's funny, we were just talking, when you go to clean them up, it's like, either it's all gone or it's not, and some people look at it like it's just so pretty.
That
they
they
don't
don't
want
even
to
wanna
touch it. You're like,
hard.
dig in, you just gotta go for
grab
it, just eat it.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
so
but
fun
it
to
is
make.
art. They are really
It's
fun
art.
to make.
Here I
They're
am again.
beautiful.
It's art.
Yeah,
It truly
beautiful.
is art. Like I said,
Yeah.
this was pre-pandemic. It was pre-pandemic, and we like even took it with us, and it still looked gorgeous. I think you even had like carved hearts or something. I don't know. I was absolutely speechless, and that's something that doesn't happen to me very often. But to see this, it was the same way. Like, I almost didn't want to eat it.
Yeah.
So you do catering. So you do weddings and parties and birthdays and just sort of any type of event that could have food. And these grazing boards have, the crackers and the meats and the cheese and pretty much a full meal. But you also do individuals. So I noticed on your website you even do like a charcuterie for one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's really more, we focus on that more with like the mobile charcuterie bar. Typically we
So what's a
serve-
mobile charcuterie bar?
Sure. So it's kind of, we made it into like a
bar.
like
Yeah,
a mobile bar.
yeah.
But we have stations where they're kept cold, that we put our meats and cheeses in and sides, and then, it's the same concept, only you get to build it yourself. Based on what we have. And that can change.
Right,
so
right.
It can change for every event, whether you customize it
Or
we
asked to
do.
customize.
Yeah.
And people can customize them as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't like nuts or they don't like pickled items. So it's kind of cool because we have a lot of things to fill in when they don't like that. We also offer typically like a no pork solution.
Yeah.
Or if you want all cheese versus all meat.
Right.
wanna
You can
make sure
cater to
both.
different
So, yeah, it's
whether
really
s-
nice.
whether someone's a vegetarian or someone doesn't want any dairy. Oh, that's so wonderful. And so like I believe so the mobile or the charcuterie, that means you can like cater businesses as well, like luncheons and things like that.
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
just a birthday party.
There's
or
pretty much nowhere it can't go.
It's it can go
we
wherever you go. It's a traveling bar. And so not only can you get the mobile charcuterie board, but then you can also get your sweets too. So you can then have the cheesecake or the cake, and it's sort of this complete sort of meal. I mean, it really is. It really is.
Sure.
It really is. So you have a storefront. Downtown Lancaster. Where is your
back it up
Yes,
one
please.
second?
Yes.
I just wanted to add to that we really are starting to look at like other local shops and vendors that make honey. For instance, we use
Right.
Chestnut Ridge honey for our boards, and we started to do candied jalapenos. So we're just really starting to like add in.
The
We also
oils
do a
of
balsamic.
Yeah.
Oh, like
yeah,
with
we're starting
different-
to get.
So we're trying to like
Yeah.
bring in a local aspect. At first, it was a little.
Well, you just
more
have to do what you have to
difficult for
do.
us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're really looking at that too. So I wanted to say for charcuterie boards, it's really.
That's wonderful.
yeah.
That's wonderful to hear because that local connection is really important, and you guys are Lancaster County girls.
Yes.
I mean, born and raised, both
Yeah.
of you? Or no?
I was born in New York
Okay.
City, but
Okay.
yeah, but raised here.
There's still a little bit
Yeah.
of a New York,
Yeah.
a little accent of not Lancaster, but grew up here.
Right.
This is your home, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
And so to integrate those other local vendors with all of
Yes.
this wonderful high quality meat and high quality cheeses,
sure.
and that's wonderful
Yeah.
to start that. And it, you start one place and then you can grow and add. So this is sort of like that next chapter. So where can we find you? Because people are gonna, I mean, you're gonna want to try this. You're gonna want to go in and, if you want to just try the cherry, of course, you can try the cherry. But so where can we find you?
Sure.
How many different flavors do you have at the store? Is there seating, parking? We just want people to come visit.
Yeah, so we are located at 25 North Prince Street. We are well known for being across from the Fulton Theater or adjacent from Central Market. We have limited hours right now, but we always do pre-orders and events outside of our hours, our regular hours. But when we are open, you can walk in, you can build your own charcuterie box. We typically have anywhere from 8 to 12 different mini cheesecake flavors, among other baked items and no baked cheesecake items. A lot of cheesecake varied items that we do too. And drinks, seating, we do not have like table seating yet, but we are working on that. That's something we
We do
definitely
have benches,
want
though.
to do.
It's a,
Yeah.
and there's an open parking lot for people to park in
Yes.
right
Yeah.
next door.
Yes, parking.
Or if you find parking on the street.
Yeah, there's of course street parking, but
Yeah.
the same parking that you would utilize to go down to Central Market. So
Correct.
there is paid parking, very easy to pull in, and literally right next door. You don't even have to
Yeah.
walk, but a few
Yeah.
steps to get there. So what's next? What's the future? We talked a little bit about bringing back the cheesecake cakes
Yes.
and bringing in some of those local. Really quickly, what would be sort of you see as next for Kelsas?
Yeah, so I think as we are coming up on our 1-year anniversary, which is September 5th, we really decided that, we went through kind of a year, we saw what really was working, what wasn't, how we work well together. And we were just kind of like, this is a perfect time to kind of do like a slight rebrand facelift,
There you have it.
so to speak.
Yeah.
We haven't really announced that or talked about it, so that's something we're going to really focus on. And I kind of did a project deadline of December, so we're hoping to. It may be done before that, but we're really hoping to kind of have
The
things
next
in place. Yeah.
The next
Yeah, the next phase.
The next
Yeah,
phase.
for sure.
Well, Sasha, Kelly, thank you so much for coming, and you've got to go visit them down in downtown Lancaster at Kelsas Sweet Box, Sweet Shop. Sorry, I just have cheesecake on the mind, but thank you so much for having us.
thank
This
you.
is Take a Look, and we're here to talk about the people, organizations, and culture of Lancaster County. Thanks.